Hello, this is Chuck from Aquatic Artists and Advanced Waterfall Systems. I am here with Tony Dyke from Resin Rock.
Yes. So Chuck, why don't we start by how me from Resin Rock and yourself from Aquatic Artists met and why we're here today?
Yes, so we met in the spring of 2024. We follow Lucas Coughlin from Insane Pools. He had partnered up with Tony and brought Resin Rock to the States, and we're starting a new company. And we were really interested in the product and the collaboration, and we thought, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So we reached out to Tony and we started talking. And then we ended up coming down to Florida to visit those guys and talk a little shop and, that kind of thing. Right?
That's where it started, wasn't it? Like I said, the guys flew down. We met at Lucas's shop. We started off an initial conversation, spoke about Resin Rock, how potentially Resin Rock could assist Chuck and his company going forward. And then we've been in touch ever since, leading up to this point now, where we're basically talking in advance on how we can assist each other going forward with new ideas.
Yep. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting day. We're developing new products together and different uses for the Resin Rock with our new company, Advanced Waterfall Systems. So we're developing a natural stone product that we're going to incorporate the different Resin Rock products into these products to make them a better, more creative product.
Yeah, it's exciting because yesterday we actually installed the first ever Resin Rock grotto in collaboration with Chuck and Aquatic Artists. So that was very exciting, wasn't it, to see that the project went down really, really nicely. So we're advancing those conversations from there because Chuck's a very artistic guy, hence the name. That's why we're collaborating together. Our product suits Chuck and his needs going forward with potential new ideas. So it's quite a good collaboration, I feel.
Yeah, it was a really cool idea. We built this pretty sizable grotto for a customer in Maryland. We came up with the idea of doing the floor of the grotto in resin. Tony came down and trained our guys and we kind of laid it. And it came out amazing. It looked really good because it was like this natural aggregate floor that was completely porous. And it kind of blended with the boulders of the grotto and the cave and the hot tub and the waterfalls and everything that was going on inside there. So it was a nice compliment.
It was, because they had inside the grotto, they had an outdoor shower. So obviously having the Resin Rock's fully permeable, so the water's going to permeate through. And then when Chuck said going in and out of the jacuzzi hot tub area also is minimized the amount of surface water also. It's quite exciting for me because, working alongside Lucas, seeing the crazy projects he does, seeing the projects you're doing, very similar. The grotto that we were in yesterday was like a speakeasy pool. I think that was inspired by one of Lucas's projects going.
Yeah. So we follow Lucas, and he did this speakeasy pool where he did this pin and pour concept where the roof is real stone, and it's kind of the first time it's ever been done. And we kind of saw that, and we were like, oh, cool, we're going to borrow that idea. And we kind of borrowed his idea, and we did this similar. It was much smaller. His was like, much larger, but ours was a scaled down version of it. But we did that concept where we did the roof in real rock and we pinned it and poured concrete and engineered it and all that. So when you go into the grotto, you're looking up at real stone, right? So it's not an easy thing to do. There's no doubt. I give those guys tons of credit, but it came out really cool. And then the whole thing was real stone, but it was concrete reinforced with rebar and pinned,
Yeah, and then the exciting thing is we also added the glow rock. The glow rock product was added to the surface as well. So at night time, it's going to give a nice glisten. So we actually installed the 1/8 sky stone inside of the severe kit that we installed on the surface. So at night time, like I said, there's going to be a nice blue glisten to the floor when in the jacuzzi area at night time.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. We did it yesterday. So obviously it was daylight and you couldn't see it. You know what I mean? So we're excited to see what that looks like. We couldn't really turn the waterfalls and everything off because it would create a lot of moisture, right? And you wanted the product's got to cure for 48 hours. So once it's all dry, we're going to go back and we're going to turn everything on. And one of the cool things, there's actually a waterfall on the hot tub inside the grotto. It comes from outside the grotto and it goes inside the grotto, and there's a big opening in the roof and it kind of cascades into the hot tub. So, it kind of creates a lot of moisture, and then there's waterfalls coming off the front. Right, so we didn't want to turn it on when the resin was new, but we also couldn't walk on it, right? So we couldn't really video. We got this super cool 360-degree camera that we're going to go back next week when it's dry, and we're going to shoot the whole thing, turn everything on, and the customer is really into it. He's got all these cool lights. Yeah. He's got these little, what are they called? Those little like jewels or amethyst stones we mortared into the wall, which is kind of cool. The guy's really into it.
Yeah, it's nice to see his reaction as well. So when he actually come out to see Resin Rock on the surface for the first time, is everything all that he imagined. So it's nice to see his actual reaction, which we got caught on camera as well, which is great to see because there's nothing better than a natural reaction to seeing something for the first time. Everyone has these ideas, and what Chuck and the guys at Aquatic Artists have been doing is changing those ideas into realistic plans and actual making it realistic for those homeowners to go forward, and then us coming up forward with the Resin Rock for this project alone, which is fantastic.
Yeah, another thing that's cool is that like my grotto on my pool is all real, it's stone, but the floor is all stone, right? So when there's a lot of activity, a lot of the water pools like in the corner, right? Because the flagstone goes right back to the grotto. Not like it's a lot, but when you have a lot of people in and out, so it gets a little bit of pooling. What's interesting about the Resin Rock is that it's permeable, right? So all that water from all that activity in the pool and the hot tub will just permeate right through the surface. You won't get puddling, which means you probably won't get, algae and things like that for standing water.
Maintenance, the
minimizes the
hassle
maintenance.
and the potential slip-fall accidents,
And the other thing that's cool too is that when you do flagstone inside, you're cutting all the pieces around the rock. You got these boulder walls and the walls go in and out, so you're cutting all these pieces. So it has a bit of a cut look to it, right? This product is a gravel, right, an aggregate, so it just kind of fits in and it gets trowed around the rock. So it's got a cleaner kind of surface area and finish. It's a little cleaner.
Especially for, like you said, those different angles, different shapes, whatever. With the Resin Rock, you mix it on site and hand trowel it on site, so it can suit any contour, shape, design, and you just hand trowel it on site. So it gives you that a nice high-end finish and also a fully seamless finish as well going forward.
Yeah, so we're excited to kind of incorporate some of these advantages of the product of Resin Rock into our product company, Advanced Waterfall Systems, which is the first of its kind, natural stone, custom designed, concrete reinforced waterfall systems that can be designed and shipped anywhere in the country or the world for other contractors to install. We're going to be incorporating Resin Rock products into those systems to make them better and more creative.
Which I think is
very exciting, yeah.
Chuck's been showing me all these concepts that they've been building. Do you want to talk to me what inspired you to do the advanced water systems going forward? What inspired you to bring that as an option for? Yeah,
so it kind of got inspired by Lucas, right? His pin and pour concept of being able, because the challenge with real rock in grottos is sourcing real rock, finding the real rock. You get them and they're not cracked, or all that stuff comes into play. It's very difficult to find real rock grottos. And all through COVID, any ones that were available were wiped out, right? So, because everybody was building pools. So it's really difficult to find a high volume of good quality grotto tops. So we took the concept of his pin and pour that he did in the speakeasy pool, and we said, how do we make that on a smaller scale that's actually mobile? Meaning like we can fabricate it in our shop and then take it to a job site and put it on a grotto, right? That allows us to control our grotto tops. We could build it any size we want. We could build it as per the project, and it's, we can build an inventory, right? We don't have to worry about finding that real rock that is unbelievably difficult to find at some quarry in some mountain by some guy that you may or may not be able to get. And I've had it where I bought half a dozen of them, spent thousands of dollars per rock, and then I got it and they were cracked. And like, you ain't returning them.
No.
You know what I mean? So this idea of being able to do that was the inspiration. So then we said, all right, well, how can we build this into a full product line, right? How can we build this into the first of its kind, natural stone, custom designed waterfall system? And it's really working out well. Something that would take 3 days with a crew of experienced guys and the infrastructure to source rock and make sure it doesn't leak. Now it's down to one day with 3 guys, no experience and no infrastructure. So we systemized it. You know what I mean? So and now we're going to incorporate the Resin Rock products. So we're super excited about it.
It's a great concept. Like I say, me visualizing Chuck's ideas and what they've been creating and designing outside is fantastic. So is there any specific limitations on sizing that you can go with these waterfalls or anything like that? Yeah,
so we're able to build large, we've already done it, built really large grottos.
Yeah.
And the pieces, the units, the panels, for lack of a better word, could be anywhere from, they'd be large rock panels, right? They could be 5-6 foot high, 8 foot long. They could weigh 5,000 to 8,000 pounds a piece, but they're all designed to the pool. The pool is templated. And then it's designed to fit almost like a big Lego set, or almost like custom cabinets, right? The idea of custom cabinets where you design the cabinets, you build them in a factory, and then you go and you install them in someone's house. Yeah. It's a similar concept, except they weigh 8,000 pounds and need to be moved with an excavator. A bit more, but it all has lifting points, so it's simple to move and simple to build.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic idea.
So Tony, when I met you a year and a half ago in Florida, you had just come here from the UK, and I just, tell us your story. It's a fascinating story. Anytime someone does something that takes a lot of guts, you know what I mean, to improve the life of their family, but takes a lot of everything, a lot of planning, a lot of discipline, a lot of heart, a lot of hard work, I always admire that.
Yeah,
I admire that. So tell us your story, man.
Well, I mean, I think that's what any father or parent does going forward is, any way they can improve their family's life. Yeah, that's the main thing. What we do. Yeah, we work hard for those key reasons. So I had the idea. Well, actually, I started back in the UK. I used to have my own construction company. So I've been in construction for 17 years, doing that for my whole life since I left school. Been doing that. We used to come over to Florida every 2 years. We used to love it. And then we decided one day that, why don't we try and improve the life for our kids, right? That's our main concern. So how can we improve the lifestyle? Because back in the UK, it's gloomy, raining, cloudy. The weather's not the best. So there's not much else you can do. When it's like this, you're just sat inside the house watching TV. What else can you do? Not much. So we decided, right, why don't we look into actually moving to Florida and actually chase something that we enjoy personally. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but for us, it's what we really enjoy. So we decided, right, well, let's sell everything. My whole company, I got rid of my company, my house, everything we had in the UK. We moved from the UK with 12 suitcases to the US, and that's how we started again. So we started from that, and that's when Resin Rock was started. Resin Rock started, we are a distribution company of the resin-bound product throughout North America. Within this, say, 15-month period since we started, we're a 2-time award-winning distribution company in North America. I personally just won a global innovation award myself. So I want to, going forward, is, if there's any dreams that you have, you shouldn't let it hold you back. I said to my wife at the time when we first had the idea, I don't want to be in my 50s and have those regrets that I wish I tried it. Because for me, I look at it as I can always go back to what I've always done and start again, no problem at all. So, it's hard. Obviously, you've got children. As a father, everyone's relying on you and your family, aren't they? So that's why we decided to do it. But it all takes hard work. What I've learned coming to the US is there's opportunities everywhere. And I feel like a lot of people in the US currently don't see those opportunities because it's not it's what you're used to in the surroundings. You get comfortable. Come out of my comfort zone to a new country and seen there's more opportunities. And then I've expanded from that one company to, by the end of the year, I'm going to have 5 companies. And we're just expanding going forward, which is great. And like I said, I always believe everything happens for a reason, which is why we met, how I met Lucas as well. That's how Resin Rock started. I reached out to Lucas from watching all his TV shows, like you mentioned, how you've seen it all as well, same as myself. Reached out to Lucas, we met, we was in touch for about 2 years, and then that's when it all fully decided to come over, and that's why me and Lucas come up with Resin Rock and started from Florida and now expanding out throughout North America. So we currently have 6 distribution centers in North America and ever expanding from there, which is great.
That's a great story, and that's a short timeline to go from zero to where you are.
It just takes a lot of hard work, as you know, as any business owners. If you really want something, you have to put that effort to get in there. You only get out what you put in. So, working 6-7 days every single week, you have to do that sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice a lot of things. Moving over here, last year I missed both my kids' birthdays because I had to be out here while they were back in the UK, and I was doing 2-3 weeks here and 2-3 weeks back in the UK, and I was going back and forth all the time on my own as well. So, there's a lot of family time missed there and stuff, but it's for the greater good. So giving them a better opportunity, a better life going forward. So sometimes you have to sacrifice those smaller things to get a bigger reward, which is what we've done.
I love that. I love the long-term planning part of it. I love seeing, people that take the short-term setback for the long-term gain.
I think that's,
think it's always good to see that, right? Because a lot of times people look at the short term, and we're kind of going through it in our company where there's a short-term hit for a long-term gain.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think that's the era that we're in though currently. Because you've got things like social media. You look at all these people that are doing successful and they're really well, and you look at social media thinking, why aren't I doing that? Why can't I do that now? Everything's got to be now. I feel that's what it's like now. Especially in this era, this time, everyone tries to rush everything. I always feel as well is when you go to the lowest point, which is the hardest point, when you got just you and you're slogging away. That's where a lot of people give up, and that's just before the rewards start coming. Yeah,
it's always the darkest before the dawn.
It is, 100%.
And everybody I know that's done something special has always said that. You're going to hit a point, and it's going to get really hard.
And that's what makes
you got to whether you push through it or you stop. That's the difference.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I always believe. I always say that to everyone because that's literally it can be very, very hard. Whether you've got a family like myself or you're on your own. Either way, it's going to be difficult. And it's how you cope with it and how you progress and go through that other side to start getting the rewards from there. You know, like yourself, let's talk about you. How long have you had the company going for? Because you've probably had the same thing when you've been through hard times and come up.
Yeah. So we started Aquatic Artists like 2002, I think. We were a landscape company. And it's funny because when I talked to Lucas, he said his was the same situation.
Yeah, I think you two are very similar.
Yeah, like we have a lot of similarities where he was in landscaping and I was in landscaping. And in 2002, he changed to a pool company. I changed it to a pond and waterfall building company.
Yeah.
But we went from the landscape to something we kind of enjoyed and we were passionate about. You know what I mean? And then, you know, from there, it kind of grew. You know, but yeah, we've definitely gone through our challenges. I think, you know, going through growth, you know, when you want to kind of build the company and you start to bring on the overhead and hire people. We brought Kevin on and Tommy on and, you know, so you end up, your overhead gets more, you know, and then, so those setbacks, when you have a bad month or a bad quarter, it hurts more, right? Because you've got a lot harder
more
overhead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right now we're building a product company, right? So there's tremendous amount of capital going into that.
Yeah.
Right. So it seems like every time I get ahead, I just throw all the cards back in and start over. Like I put it all in black and I kind of start over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I say to myself, what is wrong with
this?
Just
Just phrase that, because that's how I always phrase how my journey was. How I always say, right, I basically sold everything and went to the roulette table and put it on red.
Like here, you know what I mean? You put it all on the table.
Yeah,
you know?
basically it's the same thing. Yeah.
Kind of keep it all on the table.
I feel like we're idealists though, so you know. That's why we always expand into new things because we come up with ideas all the time.
Right.
Like you coming in the product line.
Yes. Yeah. And then your ideas get ahead of your money.
Yeah.
The ideas are longer than the money. You know what I mean? You got to finance it. You know what I mean? So we've been through that. You know, there's no doubt. But yeah, that's kind of funny.
So when you moved from the landscaping to the waterfalls and that, was that something that you really enjoyed? Is that something you followed?
Yeah,
Is that a dream
I did, but it was like, it was more of a pond and waterfall building. We left, so it was 2003, we started Aquatic Artists from the landscape company, but it was a lot of ponds and waterfalls.
Okay.
And then in 2004, 5, 6, we started seeing a lot of waterfalls on pools, and they weren't really great. Like no one really did it right. It was kind of like you'd see a beautiful pool, and then like the mason built it, the landscaper built it, but there was no system the way it was built.
So
there was no specialist that built the waterfall on the pool. It was like whoever did it, and there was no consistency in the product, and they always leaked, and there was always like this, you know, they leaked. So when we got in, we started saying, that's it. We're going to be like the waterfall guy for the pool industry.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And we're going to create, and the two problems we overcame was, one, people would not, there was no expectation set. Like there was no body of work to show somebody and go, that's what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
So the customer would get shown an apple and they would build them an orange, and there would be disconnect. So there was that, and then they would leak. Right? They were always problematic because there was no system. They would leak. So we overcame those two things. We built a body of work that we could show people. Okay, and then we built the product that looked like
that one.
Yeah. So it ended up, and then we designed a system that didn't leak. Right? So those two big things. And then we the construction process we used, we kind of developed that. It was kind of a unique construction process with liners, and it looked real natural, and it could go on any pool. Right? And then that was like 2005, and then we kind of did that, and then 2008 hit. You know, and then, you know, everybody was buying waterfalls in 2008 because money was so cheap and everything was so wonderful. So thank God my wife had her corporate job because, you know, weren't really doing a lot in those days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then we just kind of kept it going from there. So now we build 100 waterfalls a year in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. I've got the same team since the beginning.
That's fantastic when you tell me about that. I think it's great to have something like that.
Yeah, Eric, Edgar, and Javier, they've been with us since the beginning, which is 20 some years. Same guys. We're all getting old together. You know what I mean? So
it's key to have that core team. The core team to expand from. If you don't have that core, it's hard to expand onto that, to grow the company or the brand without.
And they were actually a big driver to develop the product company because look, they're all in their 40s and they got bad backs, you know, and we're all getting old, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, well, we got to do something now. We got to build a product. We got to build a company that they could spend the next 20 years in. Yeah. And it's not in the field, build waterfalls.
So you think about the longevity in the industry. Yeah.
Right. It was like, all right, I want to get them in the product development and get them in a warehouse, building these, using their experience and knowledge of building waterfalls to build waterfall products. Yes. Right. And they could do that till they're 60, 70 or whatever. However they want to retire, you know what I mean?
Unless they have something to say about it.
Unless they want, my point is it's there. It's there. They're going to be in hopefully a heated or air-conditioned warehouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes it a lot more tolerable for someone as they get a little older.
I think
it's what they spend 20 years, they know that, right? They've got the experience, right? So why not utilize the experience to do something cool and different?
Well, it's all of your experiences put into a package.
Exactly.
So all the experiences of what you've had, what you've missed, what you've done wrong, or what's happened, or what you've done right, is all being put onto one package. Which I think is great now for you to be able to offer that to people, landscapers or people that can just, like I said, pick it up and do it themselves.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's like we kind of took all that and packaged it into a system for other people to solve those problems for other people. And I know it's going to work because I know the market because I've dealt with the problems.
Exactly.
Right? And they're real problems. We made real solutions, and we solved them for ourselves.
So think about think about this. Like if someone comes to you guys and said, "I want to give you 20 plus years of experience in a package that you for free of charge, basically that experience is free," that's a no-brainer.
Right.
As a business aspect, that's a no-brainer. You get in someone's, well, not even just one person's, a whole team's worth of 20 plus experience in a package for you to start installing, which I think is great. Yeah. Because that would cost a lot of money if someone wants to have that expertise pushed into them quickly.
Absolutely.
That you've done.
And it's turnkey, right? So someone could buy the kit, buy the system, and install it right like that without any huge investment.
Yeah, which I think is great.
So Tony came to our location in New Jersey. So I want to thank Tony for coming up here and sharing his expertise with us on the Resin Rock product. We've spent a fair amount of time talking through new ideas.
Yeah,
it's always great to collaborate with creative people because it's never like one-sided, right? You start here and you go back and forth with all these different people like bouncing around like a ping pong ball, and you end up with these great ideas. So it's always exciting and refreshing, energizing, to collaborate with creative people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's been exciting, and I appreciate you guys welcoming me as you have, and it's the first time I've been into the Northeast as well. So
hopefully it won't be the last.
Yeah. Right, Chuck, so let's talk about how you marketed. Obviously, you're working within a niche area of waterfalls and stuff. So what was your key way to market that out to the public?
We started out in the early 2000s. It was, old school, right? Banging on doors, making phone calls.
No social media back then.
Yeah, no social media back then. They had a flip phone, you know what I mean? Like it was back in the day. So it was, cold calling, going to see pool builders. Back when people did visits, we actually went to someone's office, you know what I mean? And brought your stuff, your big old like encyclopedia type thing and, and kind of presented your wares, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of that, it's consistency. It's being there when they call you, answering the questions, doing the project. When you make your mistakes, right? We all make mistakes. Anybody that has ever done anything innovative is going to make tons of mistakes. But it's how you handle them, right? You go back, you fix it, you make it right. And what we did is we turned our mistakes into an R&D department. We would see something, we make a mistake, we'd fix it, take pictures of it, and go back to the team and say, all right, how can we change this so that mistake doesn't happen again, right? So we did that for years and made our system kind of bulletproof. So it was old school reputation, doing the right thing, having marketing material to show people the product, give them pricing, so they made it easy for them.
Yeah. So what was you doing then? What was the initial cold calling like? Because I know back in the day, everything else was black and white, so there's no color then, was there? So what was your cold calling like? So
what I would do is I would get on the dial-up phone, the phone, like that kind of phone. We would get on that, you know what I mean? Or sometimes I would send a pigeon. Yeah. You know what I mean? A carrier pigeon with a note. Sometimes in a bottle, I would throw it in the water. But no, it was old school phone calls. Even, I hate to age myself, but 20 years ago, email wasn't even as common as it is now, I don't think. You know what I mean? It was a lot more old school cold calls, and bringing your stuff out and dropping off material.
So would you be calling people and asking them, if they've already got an existing pool?
No, this would be pool builders. We would call the pool builders, you know what I mean? And they would be like, who are you and what do you want? Yeah. Because pool guys are busy, like every business owner. They don't have time for small talk. Yeah. So getting meetings was hard, getting them to listen to you. But then year after year, we would also do the pool show. There's the Northeast Pool, the Northeast Pool and Spa Association, which has a big pool show in Atlantic City every year. Okay. And everybody goes there, right? So I would have a booth there, and then we would see everybody year after year. Right. So consistency.
Consistency, that's key. And like I said, like you thought outside, you got your niche where the waterfalls are attached to the pools, so you're going to contact the pool company. Yep. And this is where these guys need to think about, in the business aspect. If you've got a niche, think about what goes within your niche or around your niche, and then connect those people around you to expand your brand. That's the big thing, isn't it? I think a lot of people, these days may rely just on one source. Maybe let's say just social media, but social media gets you good reach and stuff, but it doesn't do everything for you. Word of mouth's massive, because if you can refer me to someone or vice versa, like word of mouth, you've got a higher chance of closing. because you've been recommended by someone else.
It's a warm lead, right?
Exactly.
It's always a better lead when someone recommends you. Absolutely.
I say, so obviously we do a lot of social media stuff, so as we're talking to the guys, there's a lot of different aspects. You've got, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you can do Google stuff. There's a lot of key things you do, but content is key, when we're talking about marketing. For any like business owners or contractors out there, the marketing's key for doing the amount of content needed every single day. Whether it's just you walk into a job, pricing up a project, content. Whether you're doing an installation on a project, that's more content. There's content everywhere. It's just, I was very old school as well, like 3 years ago. I wasn't really a social media person and stuff. And like you're brought from the background of old school as well, I would have thought. So you're not really getting out your phone and talking. You're not used to it. But those things can help bring more brand awareness. That's what you're trying to do in this era. Bring more brand awareness and videos. It brings more credibility to you as a personal person and also the company as well. Would you agree with that?
I would say that helps huge. You know what I mean? It's again, and I think every small business owner knows that, but what they don't realize is how much time and effort it takes. It's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and most people, small business owners, don't have that. They don't have that time, that effort, and so it's interesting. So when people say they've seen our stuff, it's like, yeah, but there's a lot behind it. You know what I mean? There's a lot behind it.
That's what takes you. I always look at business as there's break points. From small business to a medium business, that's the first break point, is when you start doing stuff like that. You start hiring people that are going to take workload off you. So let's say admin, HR, account, stuff like that. You start hiring people like that to start moving you up. And then as you grow up, you hire the people that you may be good at one thing. So you start hiring the people that you're not good at to start helping you grow up the ladder to become a better, bigger company or brand. That's how I look at it as well. Is that what
that's easy for me because I'm not really good at anything. So it's really easy for me to hire
that's
people
why
like
more
that.
people here.
So how about you? I mean, you come here, you come cold, right? You start a company cold in a different country from ground zero.
Didn't know
and
no
you
one.
build it. Didn't know anyone.
No.
And you build it. So if you had to say the top 3 things that got you from zero to where you are in a year and a half, what would you say?
Extreme hard work. Like, you've got to be obsessed. If you're not obsessed, you're not going to make it as quick because, I'm talking like 80, 100-hour weeks every single week, non-stop. You have to be that obsessed to become successful. Unless you want to drag out over a longer period of time. Hiring the right people is number 2, and then the consistency on content for marketing purposes. Because for us, and similar to you with your new waterfall system as well, is no one knows what you've got until you show them. They're not going to find you randomly. A lot of people, I feel, contractors or whatever, they sit there waiting for the phone to ring. If no one knows you or know what you're offering or what you're doing, they're not going to call you. So you're waiting for nothing to go out and get it. If you're not proactive by showing yourself what you offer, you're not going to get anything back in return. So that's all we do. A lot of social media promotions, but then also, like I said, it's connecting with people you don't know, like how we met. We didn't know until we connected.
Right.
And all these people I've connected with, it's the same thing. If you don't go out of your comfort zone, you're not going to connect with new people. And if you don't connect with new people, you're not going to expand a bigger reach. So that's the key things.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, so I learned a lot from this. I think I learned a lot on the third thing you said, about we could do a little better with connecting with the people around us.
I think with what I've learned is with like social media, we all try to make it too perfect. So content's better than no content, right? So you can make it too perfect and then you get, you can spend hours, how long it takes. Editing videos can take hours. You get a couple of likes, that's done nothing really. That's what sometimes can happen. So sometimes when you're starting out as a company, anything will do. It doesn't matter, just get it up online. Because then that's how you start building people. You start building a personal relationship with the followers that you're following you or the company, and that's how you grow further. Because you need to build that relationship through them so they know what you're offering. It's not like I'm just Tony walking around randomly to shops buying stuff, whatever. I'm Tony from Resin Rock specifically in this industry. And we're doing X, Y, Z.
Do you do anything, like you sign on a new distributor, right? Mm-hmm. Do you do anything around them, around the distributors?
Yeah, we always assist all our locations are all assisted through marketing.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You assist them.
Yeah. So it's key because, like I said, for Resin Rock, I can speak on Resin Rock. It's not a well-known product throughout the whole of North America because North America is massive. In Europe, the resin bound industry is big. North America is different. So Resin Rock, if you don't know the product, I'm going to make sure that you find out what it is and what it's about. And the only way I'm going to do that is by doing this marketing. because that's how we reach people, show how it work. But what we do at Resin Rock is we're not just selling you product, we're actually assisting you setting up brand new businesses and actually assisting you to actually become more successful. I haven't even told you guys yet, but I have this whole master plan that I'm bringing out soon, this whole program. And I've got this crazy idea within the next 20 years, I actually want to create 1,000 millionaires within my program. That's my whole goal, because I like to work with alongside people like yourself or whoever it may be. I'm not a one-person show. I like to work with people, and if we can all become successful and grow together, to me that's more rewarding than me doing everything on my own and being successful. So that's my whole thing that I'm bringing out soon, is the 1,000 program. It's called 1,000 Millionaire Program. It's just one crazy idea that I've had, and I want to try and achieve that. And the only way I achieve that is by connecting with people like yourself, expanding. We assist you as much as possible for our business to become as successful as possible, because in our industry, there's a lot of high profits to be made as a contractor.
That's interesting. That's a pretty cool idea, man.
Yeah, that's it. It's always
pretty aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive. It started at 100. I went, no, why do 100? Let's do 1,000.
There you go.
Let's hit that billion mark.
It's $1 billion.
That's
Cool.
it. That's why I do it. So, Chuck, let's talk about trade shows. Have you found trade shows over the years to be important for you and the company?
Yes. So we've done a lot of different trade shows. We've done home shows and more consumer shows that had mixed results. But we decided, that after doing a bunch of them, that the trade shows for the pool industry, right? The Atlantic City Pool and Spa Show in the Northeast, in Atlantic City in January, is where everybody goes from like Virginia to like Maine.
Okay.
The whole Northeast corridor.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of people from all over the country. You have people from other countries, but the majority of it's the Northeast, right? And there's a ton of pool builders. And that just seems to be the best show we've ever done.
Yeah.
We've done it for 20 plus years, and we get to see the same people year over year. That's why it's the consistency.
Yeah.
That works out really well. We meet new people every year. We see the same people year after year. And like it is, they see you every year, and you're around for 20 years. And you might get a guy that calls you. I've just been seeing you for 15 years.
Yeah.
Never called, and then he calls.
Calls you, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's been beneficial. How about yourself? You're traveling all over the world with Resin Rock. What trade shows or what venues or do you see are valuable?
Yeah, same as you. We started off doing some home shows and that, but then obviously that's more homeowner,
right,
where contractors should be doing those kind of shows. We did more, coating shows, products, showing the product off at these different shows. But as you mentioned, we're doing shows in the UK, we're doing shows in Saudi Arabia and in North America. And so we have been a lot of traveling around. It's more a case of product awareness, like we were speaking about earlier. That's the key thing, is if you don't do these shows or the marketing and stuff like that, no one's going to know the product. So yeah, you have to go out there and do these things to get the exposure on the product and the systems, to people get awareness of what you're actually doing.
So I have a question. What makes you pick Saudi Arabia, right? It's a big world, and you're kind of like, you're in the States and you're like, Saudi Arabia, right? So was that a throw a dart at a map, or was that like, was there interest there? Like, what was the driver to get you over to there?
It was, without going into too much detail, it was more of a strategic plan, positioned nicely, because we're expanding into other countries as well. So, we're in talks with other countries throughout Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Middle East is right in the middle. It's a perfect opportunity for us. I'm meeting great connections out there, so we have a lot of opportunities, and in the next couple of years, well, I think actually, as we're talking, 2026 is going to be quite a big year for everyone going forward, I think. But for us, I think it's going to be massive. 2026, we're going to really take the industry to the next level, because there's other people throughout Europe that offer the product. No one really in North America that are offering like us, and the system that we have is a lot stronger. So I feel like next year is going to be really, really big. And I said, I have the goal, we are going to be the biggest in the world, no matter what, in the next 10, 20 years. That's
no matter what.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a statement.
Yeah. If I set my goal on something, I achieve it. So that's it.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That said, you have to have achievements that you want to achieve in life. You set those goals, and then you reverse back on how you're going to achieve those goals, and then you walk up the ladder and you go and achieve those goals. And that's how I look at it.
Start here, go back, and then go back up.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
It's easy to go from where you want to reach, figure out what breakpoints you need to do to reach those targets, and then you go up that ladder, and then you make sure you hit those targets, make sure you hit your dream. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. That's why, like I said, we're the fastest growing worldwide currently in the industry. Over that 15 month period, we've gone straight up, because, the product speaks for itself. It's currently the strongest on the market. You know, we offer a lot of assistance to contractors building a brand new business, or it's maybe something they want to add to their business. We're assisting them to make more money, especially throughout North America. So yeah, no, it's very exciting. But yeah, I always say, yeah, trade shows are very, very important, especially for contractors. I feel like me and you are in a bit more of a niche market. So like we said, homeowners aren't really, or home shows aren't really for us. It's more the niche markets for us. But for any contractors that are doing landscaping, construction, whatever it may be, just home shows and any other shows from there would be perfect for them to get a lot more business.
What trade shows did you do? Were they landscape industry? Were they pool? Were they hardscape? Like what? Were they trade shows for contractors, for an industry?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what industries were they for?
Yeah, like landscaping, construction, and coatings. They're the main
Okay,
three.
that was the kind of trade shows
for us. But I said when we first started, we did do home shows as well. So just to bring some awareness to homeowners in our local area in Florida. That's what we did to start off with the company, just to grow some awareness. And that's where it started really, is, you know, going from nothing, brand new product in the US, and then doing these trade shows and the marketing then took us to the next level. And then that's why we kept on growing from there then. And like I said, hiring the right people. That's how you definitely progress up the ladder.
Yeah, so yesterday was a super cool day. We installed, with the help of Tony, the Resin Rock product on the floor of one of our large grotto projects. And Tony said that was the first time that the Resin Rock has been installed inside a grotto.
Yeah.
Hear that, Lucas? We were first. And it came out really cool, and the customer loved it, right? So it's kind of like, that was yesterday. And when Tony came up, I said, Tony, you know, I want you to spend 3 days here. And day one's gonna be, I'll call it the basic day, right? Flat surface, right? That's pretty basic. But in a grotto, it's still super cool. Day two is gonna be product development and what can we do with your product? What can it do? What can it do? What kind of creative ways can we use it? And we literally spent 4 hours in front of our vibe board just talking through the possibilities of what could be done with the product. Everything from installing it on our grotto tops, on the ceilings of the grottos, steps incorporated with boulders, patios incorporated in the steps, in the landings, to part of our Advanced Waterfall Systems is a 2-tiered waterfall, right? And the idea that you can create multiple tiers with it in a product that won't splash. See, the challenge with the product is that when you build these, there's a lot of splash, but the Resin Rock can mitigate that splash, right? So again, incorporating a creative product into our system to make it look better and also have it function better. They were the things that we were talking about. And we interrogated Tony. We sat here with our project managers that have been here for, you know, we've been blessed to have 3 project managers that have been with us 20 years, 2 of them, and 15, the third one. And so we asked a ton of questions, and man, he had a lot of great answers on what the product can do. I mean, from covering vertical surfaces to overlaying patios in concrete and asphalt to even ceiling. You know what I mean? Did you say we could do it in the ceiling? No, we got to flip it over. We got to flip something. Yeah, we're not doing ceilings. I'm sorry, scratch that. But you know, we can do our grotto tops and and things like that to, you know, make it look nicer and kind of have a really nice finish to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting because all of the product lines that they're bringing out here at Aquatic Artists and how we can incorporate our product Resin Rock with them. I think it's great. Like you said, where, you know, potential things are meeting up and that join or seam is then going to be covered with Resin Rock as well.
Yes.
Make it decorative.
Yes, so part of, you know, the system, there's large grottos. Well, there does become a tipping point where you can't move it or ship it because it's too big. But if you could build the grotto tops in multiple pieces and have a joint that's waterproof, and then you can cover it with a resin product that just makes it look like it's nice and consistent, then you don't have this ugly joint, right? So that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really cool.
I think bouncing off ideas off each other as well, as talking with you and the team as well, and myself, would just come up with new ideas or potentials that we're going to try out.
Yes.
Some ideas are just like never been tried out ever before.
Yeah, that hasn't been done.
We're going to play around with it, see if that's a concept that we can actually make realistic. And then no doubt that's going to turn from one idea to probably another 5 ideas.
Yep.
And we're just going to keep playing around. So
Yeah.
I think it's quite exciting to see, because there's you know, a lot of possibilities what you can actually do and applications that you can do with Resin Rock. So I think it suits a lot of ticks a lot of your boxes that you're looking for. Yeah,
and I think, you know, you deal with everybody that's been in business or anybody that's done anything, you know, you deal with different kinds of businesses and different kinds of people. And some people are just meat and potatoes, right? Just black and white, simple. They are right here. They got blinders on and they're just doing the same thing year after year, product. Nothing changes, right? So it's like, you know, I met Tony a year ago, and in a year, he's got like 20 new innovations and all these new products and all these new formulas, and we could do this and do that and vertical surfaces and this and that. And I was like, wow, that's kind of the world we're in, right? We innovate a lot. So
sure.
it's good, collaborating with somebody that also has innovative ideas, because when you get multiple people that have to think the same way, it creates amazing results. It's an exponential result. It's not 1 + 1 is 2, it's synergy, right? So it's 1 + 1 + 1 = 100.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what happened today, I think, this morning
100%.
with those meetings. You know what I mean? That's and it's exciting, right? You spend 80% of your week being stressed out with problems and finances, and that's the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But when you get that 10% where you get to think creatively, it's exciting and energizing. It kind of keeps you going for the other 80 hours a week when you're stressed out of your mind. You know what I mean? So it kind of offsets, like a cup of coffee or maybe a shot of tequila, something like that. But it keeps you going,
It does, yeah. And then you think, actually, this idea is great. Now it's going to cost a lot more capital.
Yeah. I got the idea. Now it's going to cost money that I don't have to do it. You know what I mean? So there's that too, which adds more stress, and it's a circle, a cycle. It just repeats itself.
It's a cycle we love.
Yeah. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Tony, we talked about the stuff that we're doing. What are the innovations that you're excited at Resin Rock that are coming down the pike that we can look forward to?
Yeah, so one of the exciting things we're doing is we've got a new product called Resin Heat. It's a solar thermal capturing system that goes underneath the resin rock. So it's kind of as you would an exterior underfloor heating system. So in the colder climates, like up here potentially, what you can do is by using certain properties inside, I won't go into too much detail, we can actually store the energy, all right, and we can transfer that, and you can actually heat up the surface. So up here where it gets cold, icy, potential snow, we can actually melt that ice, melt the snow. It's going to permeate through the resin rock, keeping those areas nice and safe. In areas like Florida, we can retain that heat, transfer it through a separate store tank, and then transfer that into heating up the swimming pools. So we're actually capturing the sun and utilizing that back into the properties.
Wow, that's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's something that we're working on finalizing, but it's, how it can do both, whether it's cold climates or warmer climates, it can suit both.
That's interesting. I never heard of that before. I've heard of the heated floors and things like that, but the part where you can actually transfer it and store it, the energy.
Yeah, no, it is a real cool system that we're just trying to finalise, and going forward, these adaptations are going further and further. We've been creating this brand new AI controlled panel which can be remotely checked anywhere worldwide, so we can pull the data out worldwide and see the information from that installation on that site.
That's cool.
Which is quite exciting.
Yeah, so Tony, you mentioned AI controlled systems, which is super cool. What other ways do you guys incorporate technology into your business?
Yeah, so AI is obviously a massive play in going forward, especially these days. Using AI, you can do so many things with AI. ChatGPT, you can ask it so many variables. Utilizing that assists a lot of things. But then also you've got things called Zapier. Zapier is like an integration thing. So what it is in simple terms is connecting one platform or one app to another, where you couldn't actually connect them usually. You have a Zapier, so it points the two together. So let's say you're using a Gmail account, for example. You send me an invoice, and I have a Zapier that sends it to somewhere where I want it to be stored. So let's say I have my December invoices put there. I have that Zapier sent, so it goes straight into stored. So I don't have the hassle all the time of downloading that invoice, then re-uploading it into another file or whatever. Zapier connects those two things together. So you can use that with CRM systems. That's really key. I mean, CRM is very, very important. If you're any business owner, CRM is massive. You've got to capture those leads, understand what the leads or where they're from, get the information, and then you talk to the CRM, keeping that communication through the CRM. So like I said, I've talked to you, let's say, what's Chuck interested in, what he wants to do going forward, a follow-up. That's what CRM is for. That's sales is the biggest thing within the company. So you need to think about how you can utilize technology going forward for that. And I think like Mosher as well is a company that we partnered with for contractors to use for measuring the areas that they're installing. So you can get, it's 99.9% accurate. So you're using something like that, it gives you the accurate reading of the square footage area that you actually need the installation on. So then they can come back to us and tell us the specific area that they need for product. So then we can inform them the correct amount that they need, and they're not having to go overboard and have too many kits left over or having not enough. So
that's interesting.
What about yourself in Aquatic Artists?
Yeah, so we use a lot of technology. I've been blessed to have Kevin, our COO, Kevin Baker, our COO, who came from the technology world. So he has really kind of incorporated AI into almost every aspect of our business. You know what I mean? From production to engineering to legal to HR to everything we have. What did you call it, Kevin? A project for that we have our HR specialist, our law specialist, our engineer,
agent,
an agent type of thing. So it's all been trained on the entire company.
Yeah.
You know, so we get answers that are phenomenal. I mean, we did our marketing plan. You know, AI put together, you know, a 30-some page marketing plan that probably would have taken 6 months and $50,000 to hire a marketing company 100%. To do, and they did it in 15 minutes.
I feel like now that's why there's no excuses.
Yeah.
Why no one can not do, like you said, something simple like that. Put a whole marketing plan out.
Right, and I read it. It was I don't know if I was excited or terrified or both. Like I read it, and I was like, it was talking to me.
Yeah.
And it said, you know what it said?
You
know what it said? You know what it said? It said, you should partner with Lucas from Lucas Lagoons. He's in your world. It actually said that in there. You know what I mean? I thought that was funny. I was like, wow, that's hysterical. But it was like, and Donna should do this, and Debbie should do that.
Okay,
like it's literally saying, it was so specific, and it was talking to me. It was like terrifying and exciting. But we read it, and we were like, man, we're going to follow this.
Yeah,
I mean, it was real-time data, you know?
Well, it helps you, going forward, doesn't it? To be more, the whole idea is to utilize it to be more efficient.
Absolutely.
Because that time, like you said, even just putting a marketing plan, that time doing that is one, costly, but then also timely as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're using all that time to build up this plan. By then, you've already pulled out your plan of marketing, for example, and you're already like halfway through that plan, or you already completed that plan. So you're going to be 30 steps ahead of anyone else doing it manually. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that's what progresses you and your company forward quicker, by utilizing things like that.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting future with it, because it's just getting more and more relevant. You know, it's more and more better. You know what I mean? So,
I think it's exciting, like you said, in one way, where you can do all these amazing things quick with AI. And I think it's going to get to a certain point where it's going to become a little bit like, where do you stop?
Oh yeah, well we're going to be extinct as a race, but
yeah. And then Will Smith will be running down the street chasing his iRobots again.
There you go. Yeah. So shout out to Mosier. We actually have 2 of them, I think, that we utilize in our measuring and our layouts and things like that. It's a great product. It seems to work really well. And we heard about that from you guys, I think.
Yeah.
I think we, right? That's where we heard about it from.
Yeah, and I said, you know, having it 99.9% accurate, you can't go wrong. It speeds up the measuring and the accuracy. So like go on a project, for example, get the whole layout, the coverage, the area. I can send it to you, you know, via PDF.
Right.
You know, you can actually upload that straight to your CAD software. So you can have it there straight away, rather than you coming back, downloading it, and then having to re-upload things. Right. Having one little tool like that is quick and efficient then, and obviously accurate as well going forward. So coming down, seeing Chuck and the guys here, I've noticed you've got 3 vibe boards.
Yes.
Why'd you have so many?
Yes. Well, it's funny, like I started looking at getting one of these years ago, like 3-4 years ago. And I must have stared at it and thought about it for a year or 2. And then me and Kevin started talking about it. And then I bought one, and then it's amazing. It's an amazing tool. We use it for everything. We use it every day for our construction teams, our morning meetings, everything's there. We use it for design and engineering and product development. We use it in sales. I do sales presentations with it, with customers. I put together Vibe presentations, and then we jump on a Zoom call. I film me on the Vibe board that I just put something together and send it to a customer. Like to give them a very visual, like I deal with problems.
Yeah.
Like I got a customer in Pennsylvania and a pool builder in this part of Pennsylvania, and he's complaining about that, and she's complaining about that. And you ever have to do that where you got to communicate complicated things to multiple people? Mm-hmm. Well, get on the Vibe board, pull up the photos, draw on it, take your iPhone and record the conversation and go through it, and then send it to everybody. Text that video to everybody. It has literally saved me hours of driving, hours of communication, because again, you're dealing with multiple people and they're complicated things. When you're on the phone talking, people don't get everything. Yeah. And the odds of you getting that conversation across to 2 or 3 people.
Plus visualize.
And to visualize it. And they can never, you also, if they don't remember it, they go back and watch it.
Yeah.
So the videos that I've sent people, you know what I mean, are invaluable to deal with problems and sales stuff. You know what I mean?
I think it's good, like I said, like when you're an idealist as well, when you design or draw something, or, you know, because I have one as well. You know, we draw an idea or concept or something on the board. You don't have to rub it off.
Right.
That's saved. Right. So if you ever want to come back to that, you come back to it another time. If you want to do something new, you just do a new one and carry it. Where the traditional whiteboard, you're gonna have to rub all that off and remember.
Yeah. And it's amazing too, where we work with some third-party engineers, and we sign them on, and then they're looking at the same screen.
Yeah.
And then we're going back, and we'll upload an engineering plan, and then we'll both mark it up.
Yeah, that's
from different.
Cool.
He could be somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's really invaluable. So we've got one in my office for mainly sales, and then we've got one in the construction office for the day-to-day, and one in here for all the product development and all the ideas and the things we worked on this morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So shout out to Vibe. It's a great product, and I don't know why more people don't have it, to be honest with you.
To be fair, I've done exactly the same thing
I don't
as you.
understand it. Like, I think everybody, like, I know people that do things old school, and like, it's not like they don't have the money. Like, they're very successful people. And then when they see this, they're like, what is that? And then I tell them, but they never buy one. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing.
Yeah, you got to value your own time and effort. You know, this saves probably 20-30% of your time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's definitely invaluable. I agree.
And then we forget what you do. You forget what you design, and you pull it up. You're like, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
We talked about this already.
Yeah.
We already designed it. And you've got pages and pages and pages. So everything's recorded.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
easy to refer back to something that you've already
Yeah.
done.